Hi, I'll be going over Let's Be Rational test review. Number 1, this is a local newspaper. The Lansing Times sells advertising space. It charges advertising according to the fraction of the page their ad will fill. A says that they'll be running one over several days. She bought 2 1/4 pages, 9 1/10 pages, and 5 1/3 pages. What is the total amount of space that she bought? So we need to figure out how much these are individually and then add them all together. So I have 2 1/4, and we could do that in our head. 2 1/4 would be 2/4, which reduces to 1/2. 9 1/10 would just be 9/10. And 5 1/3. That one might be a little more difficult. You may have to actually multiply 5 times 1/3 to come up with your answer, which gives you 5/3. You divide 5 divided by 3. 3 goes into 5 one time with a remainder of 2. So you end up with 1 2/3. Now we need to add these together to figure out how much it is total. To add them, you need a common denominator. I will choose 30. 2 times 15 is 30, and 1 times 15 is 15. 10 times 3 is 30, 9 times 3 is 27. 3 times 10 is 30, and 2 times 10 is 20. So you end up with 15, 35, 45, 55, 50, 62 over 30. So then you end up with the 1 over here. Now you have to divide 62 divided by 30, which goes 2 times with a remainder of 2. And now you need to add the 1 back on. So you end up with 3 2/30, which can be reduced by 2. So you end up with 3 1/15 pages. B, the Comfy Couch store purchased 2 1/2 pages of advertising. The store decided to cancel 5/8. How much did he end up buying? So we started off with 2 1/2. We have to subtract the 5/8 that they canceled. To subtract, I have to have common denominators. 2 times 4 is 8. 1 times 4 is 4. This one stays the same. I can't do 4/8 minus 5/8, so I'm going to borrow from my 2 and make it a 1. And I'm going to add 8/8 here. I added 8/8 because my denominator was already an 8. And so I borrowed 1 from here, and 8/8 is equal to 1. So I end up with 12/8 minus the 5/8, which gives me 7/8. And 1 minus 0 is 1. So they ended up ordering 1 7/8 pages. 2, Connor's father bought 4 1/2 pounds of chocolate to make s'mores. He estimates that he will need 1/4 of a pound of chocolate to make each s'more. How many s'mores can he make? So this first circle we talked about needs to be how much we have. And the second one is how much it takes to make each. So we had 4 1/2 pounds, takes 1/4 of a pound to make each. So before I solve this, I have to change this to an improper fraction. 4 times 2 is 8, plus 1 is 9 over 2. And now I'm going to do something called a reciprocal. You leave the first fraction the same, you change it to multiplication, and you flip your second fraction. Before I solve this, I can reduce if I choose. I look at my diagonals, and I see that the 2 and the 4 can be reduced by 2. And that gives me 9 times 2 is 18. 1 times 1 is 1. So I end up with 18 s'mores. 3 can be a little tricky. So Sammy's mother bought 3 1/2 pounds of pecans. Sammy ate 1/8 of the pecans before he went to bed. How many pounds of pecans did Sammy eat? So we have 3 1/2 pounds. So you can either divide that into 8 parts, or you can multiply it by 1/8. Either way works. So we will go ahead and multiply it by 1/8. Before we do this, we have to change this to an improper fraction. 3 times 2 is 6, plus 1 is 7 over 2 times 1/8. I can't reduce, so I will end up with 7/16 of a pound. B asks how many pecans were left. Well, if I started off with 3 1/2 and I ate 7/16, I will have to take what I had and subtract what I ate. Again, I will need common denominators. 2 times 8 is 16, 1 times 8 is 8. This one stays the same. 8 sixteenths minus 1 16th, 7 sixteenths is 1 16th. 3 minus 0 is 3. So you have 3 and 1/16 pounds left. All right, number 4. We have n minus 3/5 equals 7/20. There's a couple ways to solve this. One way is you could do your fact families. We know in fact families that in subtraction, the first number will always be the same, and you just flip the other two. And then now we have 2 subtraction. Now we need 2 addition problems to make it a whole fact family. We know that the answers in addition are always the same as the first number in subtraction. Now we just have to put these fractions in there and then flip them. Now to solve for n, it's easiest just to pick one of the fact family members that has n as an answer. So I'm just going to add 3/5 plus 7/20. To add fractions, I need common denominators. And this gives me 19/20. Another way to solve this one, if you just want to look at it logically, is to come up with the common denominator here, which would be 20. And if I renamed 3/5, the 20 on the bottom, 4 times 5 is 20. 3 times 4 is 12. So we have something minus 12/20 equals 7/20. So I know that this number here has to be the biggest number because it's subtracting this to get this. That means I need to add these two together. And 7 plus 12 is 19. Denominator stays the same. So now let me check my work. 19 minus 12 equals 7. Yes, that's right. So 19/20, which is C. Number 5 says 1/4 times n equals 12. So we need to come up with our fact families. We know in multiplication that both answers will be the same. And all we have to do is flip these. Now we need to come up with our division part of our fact family. We know in division that the first number will be the same as the answer to the multiplication problem. And now we just have these two numbers left to flip. And the easiest way to solve for n would be to take the one where n is the answer. Oh, I just have to do 12 divided by 1/4. So I'm going to put the 12 over 1. And then I'm going to find the reciprocal. To find the reciprocal, I leave the first fraction the same, change it to multiplication, and flip the second fraction, which is 48, which is B. All right, number 6 says n plus 1/4 equals 13/20. You could do the fact families again, like we did up here, and find the one that has n as the answer and solve. Or you can do what we did down here, where you find the common denominator. I'm going to choose that path, and I'm going to change 1/4 to have the same denominator as this one. So 5 times 4 is 20. So 1 times 5 is 5. So I just rewrote my problem and renamed 1/4 with the same denominator. And now I can logically look at it and say this plus this equals this. So if I add these to get this, I need to subtract this minus this to get here. So 13 minus 5 is 8/20. Let's check it. 8/20 plus 5/20. Yep, that's 13/20. But I look and I say, well, 18/20 isn't an option, but I can reduce 8/20 by 4, which gives me 2/5, and that is an option. That's C. 7. 4 divided by 1/4 equals n. So on this one, we just have a simple division problem. We put the 4 over 1. To solve this, we need a reciprocal. Bring down the first, change the second, flip the third, and we end up with 16, which is C. 8. Just find the value. So we have sum of 2.5 and 1/3. Well, you'll need to know that sum means addition. To do addition, we'll put one on top of the other. We'll find a common denominator. We will add. 3 plus 2 is 5 over 6, and add my 2 back on there. So your answer is 2 and 5/6. 9. Difference of 2 and 1/2 and 1/3. Well, you'll need to know that difference means subtract. So that means let's write it one on top of the other. Three sixths minus 2/6 is 1/6. And 2 minus nothing is 2. So the answer is 2 and 1/6. Number 10 says the product of 2 1/2 and 1/3. So this time it wants a product. You need to know that that means multiplication. To multiply first, I have to solve this into an improper fraction. 2 times 2 is 4 plus 1 is 5 over 2 times 1/3. I can't reduce, so I just multiply across, and you end up with 5/6. 11 says the quotient of 2 1/2 and 1/3. This time you need to know that a quotient is division. Before I divide, I change this to an improper fraction. And then I find my reciprocal, which means I need to change to multiplication and flip my second. That gives me 15 over 2. If I were to divide this, 2 goes into 15 7 times with a remainder of 1. And I put my remainder out for the divisor, and you end up with 7 1/2. Remember that many of these have several different ways to solve it, and that I just went through one way. If you have questions, please see me before the test. Thank you.